Hi everyone, welcome back to Trading. It's 3:15 in the morning. Insomnia has struck again. So, let's might as well carry on. Can't do anything else. Time to fall asleep. So, we've just done a lot of fighting and finally, I think, taking control of the ship. Go to the before I start talking to people, just done a lot of dialogue with NPCs. Let's go to the quarters, see what's changed in here. Okay, that's where I came in. This hefty tome contains schematics of the flagship of House von Valancius, in addition to a plethora of notes, copies of reports and other documents. This majestic portrait, painted by a skilled artist, is guests who have been granted permission to enter the Lord Captain's quarters. That'll have to go. So passé. Thing again. Liturgies of the Faithful, his word and name. Text below this solemn heading looks noticeably faded. It appears the prayer book has been kept open in this place for a very long time. It's the same as before, I guess. Verse, yeah. And last time I was here, I thought it might have something to do with thing we found with the lemon rust tank and so things. One sculpture made from a strange metal that absorbs any rays of light. There. Bins of displayed weapons. It's mesmerizing. We've seen many of these articles. Power. Boards. Bolted down. That looks like an old gun. That's got melter. That looks like one as well. That's my pistol. Zuka. Yes. Position of the pieces on the board suggests that the game of regicide was interrupted and it was never determined. Some goodies. Put some cogitate. Piece of the Sovereign. Honor. Equipped is the rogue trade. On Valancius. Hit 4 wounds, that gain +5. Okay. Only for you then. Why can't I? Not be equipped. I know. That. The main damage dealer. This one resolve. You kill an enemy. I've got this one. You it? You? Oh, right. of this in his fellowship. Oh, I think what scales of fellowship? Nothing for might. On 5%. The dogmatic. You're the only dogmatic. For sure we'll find another dogmatic. Might as well. Nothing else to do with it. Okay. Ticking this clock is too quiet for its bulky size. Something behind it. An Hellcat thing. Oh, so backers or something. Oh, right, volume stuff in here for me. Peas. Provides an additional opportunity to call out a machine to be able to interact with the device. This. We don't need this. I'll take them out of cargo, I guess. The light glinting off the polished skull of some unknown Xenos makes it seem only fake, mocking. Looks like an orc to me. Bookshelves are packed with ancient books, piles of papers and tomes, many of which look rather worn. Organ, same. Change there. Now there's stuff in. Cracked it. Final transactions of the chassis stock. I reckon is now fully equipped. Object has been loaded aboard with containment, tagged and placed. All bay to ensure contact with the target. All sent and received by bridge. Target's estimate time of arrival on the system. I reckoning is viewed by a servitor 5. Chances of the ship returning on. Okay. That sounds like some kind of sabotage thing going on there. Unfinished letter. His chagrin is irrelevant. Whitebeard's mistake cost me too much. Years of work, tremendous resources all wasted. It's failed at what it was supposed to be irreproachable at, uncovering spies. And this one was a senior officer. Maybe that's why he has so much resentment towards her. But she did that slip that made a mistake. That's why he was never in the running. Being heir to the throne. I'm not about to discard him. Conrad has served me for too long for his removal to go painlessly for the Protectorate. Besides, he is no fool. He could not have seriously expected to become the next in line. And his skills and talents as Master's Whispers are so valuable. Let his disinheritance serve him as a humiliating but instructive lesson for he may yet learn. Well, he turned to the House. Maybe he did learn. Beyond the stained glass, the distant stars glimmer in the darkness of endless space, filling you with an odd sense of... Okay. Excuse me. Here. A head or something. Long dead eyes of this fierce monster forever captured the fear and pain of his final moment. I wonder what that is. Can't tell. The water's calm and murmurs and warm steam feeling inexplicably deceptive. A moment of weakness, unrest promises nothing but danger. We've got a tickly throat. I'm coming down or something. Okay, so that's all this. Done. Okay, back to the bridge. Yeah. Box must have read this. It's highlighted. Enter the box must. Cloud. Okay, let's talk to the Voxmaster. A thin, pale woman stands out amongst the rest of the crew. A thick bundle of cables come out the back of her skull and disappearing under her ceremonial garment. You see a great and quietly humming Vox where her mouth should be. Lorna sees you and bows her head, respectful greeting. How may I serve you, Lord Captain? What are the Voxmaster's duties? I hand the ears and voice of this voidship. I supervise several dozen officers, 3 times that number of support personnel. We receive, send, encrypt and decode all incoming and outgoing messages through the ship's internal and external channels. We also ensure clean communications and optimal efficiency for the crew's Voxcasters. If you ever want to know what worries or concerns your crew are harbouring, and what your subjects are whispering about in the local networks after their watches, and what their leaders are clamouring about over shortwave Vox transmissions, just come and see me. I will satisfy your curiosity. Have the Vox movers brought you anything interesting lately? Forgive me, Lord Captain. I have no information that will be of interest to you at this moment. It looks strange. What everyone looks like is not a mechanicus or any kind of mechanical, technical job. 50. Right. Get me to the vessel's main channel. I wish to bolster the morale of the crew. easy one. The Voxmaster nods immediately as it presses several switches on the devices holding just on Lord Captain. You address the crew with a rousing speech and hear your voice roll through the ship, reaching even the normal quiet corners of the vessel. The broadcast ends, you hear distant shouts of approval. I live to serve, look. Fortunately, that's all we did, yes. Magenta.
Rogue trader.
She looks tired, there are dark circles under her eyes. Her hair is somewhat disheveled and she moves like she's a little on edge. Tell me about Adeptus Voritas.
Gladly. There are none more faithful to the God Emperor than my sisters. We fight against his enemies by the will of the Holy Ecclesiarchy. I beg your pardon, Rogue Trader. Here I am talking about what every lesser noble in the Imperium knows. So what exactly are you interested in hearing about?
Say the Adeptus Voritas are the fiercest in their faith among the warriors of Imperium. True?
It is. The Sisters of Battle are a fire lit by the God Emperor. They are the echo of his voice that travels through the dark expanses of the universe. We bring his wrath to heretics, mutants, and other enemies of humanity. We protect the faithful from the unholy and unhallowed. Sometimes with words, more often than not with a bolter.
Yeah, that's pretty final. Both sisters truly as faultless as you say.
Even the novices of the Adeptus Sororitas are drawn from among the most worthy. Those who have taken the vows and become a full-fledged sister are the best of the best, tested by trials of body and spirit. Yes, there have been cases when a sister stumbled or showed weakness, but do not expect to hear a story of depravity or downfall from me.
Fair enough.
Each such occurrence is a great tragedy for us all. Light cannot bear the smallest speck of darkness within. And thus those who have trespassed or shown weakness of spirit are given a chance at redemption. They are called Sisters Repentia, and may the enemy tremble before her, for nothing can stop a sister of battle who yearns to be cleansed of faults and weakness.
I guess by suicide.
Wearing nothing but robes, no armor, eviscerator in hand, those sisters who have once faltered find repentance on the battlefield. Their lives are seldom long, but a death in the name of purgation is a better fate than to live with a shadow in one's soul.
What order are you from?
Once I had completed my novitiate, I was sent to the Calixian branch of the Order of Our Martyred Lady, assigned to the Order's Pronatus. The Order's mission is vital and noble. The Sisters Pronatus protect great relics of the Imperium. We guard them, preserve them, escort them when they are brought onto the battlefield or presented for pilgrims to venerate. And we seek out the relics that have been lost. Neither a coven of heretics nor the most wicked death world can deter Sisters Pronatus when their goal is to return a piece of the great legacy of the Imperium into the hands of the faithful.
Oh, seems to check there. The Order Prognosis is not one of the Order's militant. Yet you are a trained fighter.
Don't let the name deceive you. The Order's militant trains sisters to march onto the battlefield as an army. That does not make sisters who belong to the non-militant orders timid and helpless.
Oh, I know. I've seen you.
Both the solace-bringing Sisters Hospitaller and the enlightened Sisters Dialogus know how to greet enemies of humanity. Their dialogue with heretics is usually quite short, with the last word being a bolter discharge. And my order has all the more reason to be known for the martial prowess of its sisters. We are the keepers of the Imperium's relics. What would become of our blessed hero's legacy if the sisters Pronatus could not protect it?
Fair enough. You said you belonged to the Calixian branch of your order. What brought you to the Koronus Expanse?
The order sent me to Footfall. My undertaking was to assist the local priesthood of Drusians in caring for a sacred reliquary that had been there since the time of Parson Mr. Wayne, the station's founder.
Cult of St. Drusus, a legendary hero of the Angevin Crusade who founded the Calixian sector of it. Okay. Are there any other members of the Adeptus Sororitas in the Koronus Expanse?
None that I'm aware of. But the Sisterhood's orders are many, and can operate independently of one another, sending their sisters wherever their presence is needed as deemed by the Ecclesiarchy. Perhaps somewhere in the Lord Inquisitor's retinue, may his path be blessed, my sisters perform their duty as we speak. I wish it were so. Even a single evening spent in joint prayer and training would bring me joy. Should any more arise, keeping them to yourself would be imprudent. It is a virtue to take an interest in holiness.
Okay. Tell me about yourself.
About me? I am the Emperor's daughter and his servant. What else is there to tell about me?
How did you end up on the ship?
I first came here when I found myself in need of passage from Footfall to a remote planet. But I imagine what interests you is not that first journey, but rather what brought me aboard prior to the pirate attack. That story is complicated. It just so happened that
Stop short.
I made a mistake. In a moment of laxity, I was ambushed by the accursed followers of the archenemy. I was badly wounded. Lady Theodora came to my aid and brought me aboard her ship, while her crew attended to me in my weakened state. It all happened not too long ago. I had barely recovered from my wounds when the pirates struck. Truly, the servants of evil know no rest. There is no place where we can be safe from their machinations.
I think the voice actors were all about pirates, and then the text was changed to cultists. What happened to the people who wounded you? Did Theodora's men eliminate them?
Sadly, they did not. Lady Theodora was in a hurry and chose not to stay on the planet. Her people took me to a ship while I was unconscious, and when I came to my senses, we were already flying away. How I pray to come face to face with those heretics once more, and it's bound to happen someday.
You mentioned making a mistake. If I say that, she might get the huff, but if she's going to be like the main damage dealer and main part of the party, good to know how stable she is or whether she's going to flip out.
It happens even to the best of us. My mistakes are my burden to bear. I'll find a way to atone for them.
Yeah, she's hurting over that. Like she whips herself every night. Flagellation. Where did this happen?
On one of the recently discovered planets in the Expanse. No one suspected that it had already been tainted by the filth of heresy. Had I known it beforehand, of course I would have been on my guard.
Could go to that planet and deal with the Chaos Worshippers.
The path to that planet was lost. All the knowledge is gone, along with the previous navigator. It would take immense effort and resources to rediscover the route. The heir to the von Valanci's protectorate must have plenty of other issues to deal with right now. Perhaps later, when the skies above our heads have cleared.
Sounds like a plan. What was it like travelling with Theodore's ship?
I hadn't been here that long. Just one journey from Footfall, and the other journey, the majority of which I spent in the confines of the medbay. I can't tell you much about the first voyage. I was more focused on prayers and ruminations than on the people around me, or the journey itself. During the last journey, Seneschal Viserion stood out for me. He came by several times to ask about my health. He's an honorable man and a loyal servant of the Imperium. I think he is as meticulous in his inspections of the logistics systems as he is in his inquiries about the health of the occasional sister of battle aboard the ship.
Unless he's got a small flame burning for you.
But not all of Theodora's people have earned my trust. You know who I'm talking about. There is no place for Idira Tlas among the God Emperor's faithful. I'm surprised she wasn't in league with the pirates. And I'm equally surprised by how deep heresy and treason run in this place. I'm glad we all made it through that dark hour. May the day that follows be bright.
That's because Idira is an unsanctioned Psyker, which not usually allowed in the Imperium. But working for a rogue trader is allowed. Whereas my character is a sanctioned Psyker, heavily restricted by the God Emperor and all the rules and regulations therein. Much less chance of causing those big fuck-ups that I had when, was it the first time? I used that arc lightning from Idira, damage yourself and Abelard and everything around her as well. Yeah, sanctioned Psykers have much less chance of that happening.
As you wish.
Hey, you said you had a personal request for me.
I indeed have a request, Rogue Trader.
Okay. The cursed servants of Chaos who assaulted this ship took the lives of your loyal crew members. They orphaned many children, including the progeny of the brave officers who defended their post until the bitter end. I don't know what customary practices there are for cases like this in the Von Valencia's territory, but in the world I'm familiar with, the children of such brave souls expect to receive some special consideration. Perhaps the rogue trader can meet with the orphans. That is very, I won't say heretical, very inquisitorial. That's dogmatic. I will meet with them. No formalities needed. These are the children of people who gave their lives for the Von Valencius dynasty. My consideration, at least they deserve. I'll pass on your instructions. Thank you for taking my request to heart. Oh, Dex. The motley group of adolescents do not take their eyes off you, gazing at you as if you were creatures straight from a fairy tale. Our indefatigable sister has been keeping an eye on these pups, Abelard glances at the gathered children. Hardly the scholar progenium here, but we have provided the orphans on a ship with adequate care and instruction. That's like here we go. Service. Okay. Yeah. Magenta stands to the side of the group. As you approach, well, there she is. She perks up and announces, her voice ringing. Brave ones, the master of this ship has appeared before you, the one who guides through the darkness of the universe by the Emperor's will. Greet your Lord Captain, the rogue trader of House von Valancius. That's just snobbiness. That's not much better. That's a bit expected though. Don't do that, they might cause insurrection, have no respect for authority. I, the rogue trader and Lord Captain of this ship, speak to you now. The parents gave their lives for a just cause and will honour von Valancius' banners and those of the Imperium. I'm proud of them. I believe that you have become worthy, or their worthy ears. Hang on your every word with bated breath. Only a few at the far end of those seem sullen and not particularly impressed. Well, family's just been murdered. One of the scowling visitors with a thin scar across his face tosses his head back and says bitterly, "So what? Why should we care? Our friends and parents died in the dozens for you noble lot. And you just give us speeches." Understand that? Magenta turns quickly to the boy, a flood of emotions flashes in her dark eyes, and she wants both to calm him, scold him for his impudence. Yeah, things to say. Say them without fear. I will listen. Boy smiles grimly. It doesn't matter what we say. It won't bring our parents back. It won't change our fates either. We'll keep slaving around this ship until we drop and die like our folks, or worse. Well, that is life in Warhammer 40K. Short, brutal. Not much joy. When the heretics who killed your parents attacked the ship, I was there, I took command. I fought and repelled the soldiers as quickly as I could. But no war can be won without losses. We must strive to do what is within your power. I heard the rogue trader. Her words carry the wisdom of the Imperium. Not to say whether or not your words have left an impression on the boy, but he nods slowly, then catches himself and gives you an awkward bow. Abelard gives a sigh. The servants immediately emerge carrying packaged treats with von Valancius and placed on the wrappers. It appears the Seneschal came prepared for any contingency, just give them treats. Fuck off, okay. Well, it's better than nothing. Just throwing it like freaking seeds on a field. Gento rubs her temple pensively. She smiles and offers a few more words of encouragement, then leaves the body. That's gone better or not. It'll cause trouble later on. It's done now. Didn't have to say anything to them. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so talk to her. That is helmsman. Talks to him. The tall man before you appears to be woven from tendons of muscle, re-veined snake of his white, almost dove-coloured skin, and his skeleton chin up, covered in cropped white hair. Neck and shoulders are wrapped in wires that hint at the presence of neural connectors under his uniform. The officer's face seems to be twisted in a perpetual grimace of annoyance and anger. He greets you with a respectful nod. Captain? Master Helmsman Ravor at your service. You're a voidborn, aren't you? But I am. Born to a helmsman clan in the bowels of a chartist vessel. Studied the family trade until I was 15. Then my entire clan was butchered in a mutiny by lower-hold scum. They spared the young ones, of course. Kids with implanted connections and great navigational service. I was having none of it. They went and make a servitor out of me, so I escaped into the crawlways. Then spent months picking them off, one after another. He stops abruptly. You got me talking up a storm. Anyway, yes, I'm a voidborn. Finish your story. Stay silent for a few seconds. Not much to tell. I got to everyone I could get to, then I flared upward to the middle decks. That's where the auger operators took me under their wing. They're apprentice helmsmen of their own up there, you see. Nobody asked me any questions, so I stayed. I grew up, trained, got smarter. Then ended up a junior helmsman. 7 years later, Dan Rock spotted me and lured me away, the cheeky blighter. You know anything about a ship named the Friday Reckoning? Oh, that's from that thing we read. Later slate. He winces as in pain. Heard the name, that much I'm sure of, but I can't remember the details. I wonder if it was part of that operation the late Mort was put in charge of. If it was, then there's nothing I can tell you, Lord Captain. The whole thing was kept under wraps. The best chance would be to ask the High Factotum. Maybe some of his treasury records have mentions of this fiery reckoning. Can you tell me about the other officers? Different other wasters, that's what they are. Each and every one. Take this generous Danrock, highborn weasel. He fawns over the officers, but some of the deals he makes will get them burned alive. Drags other people into his schemes so they can take the fall for him too. When my junior helmsman was ferrying goods from footfall for him, caught by a seneschal, ended up in the void hatch. And what couldn't care less. Boxmaster. Another tolly man like the last one. Before he dressed him, no better. She cut off half the Vox channels the day she took up her post, so the Vox systems were damaged, and the engineer room had no contact with the other modules. How am I supposed to steer the ship? Let the COGS reports would power my mind. First officer was Imperium, outstanding. Like every Navy officer I ever met, or is Navy. Doesn't know a thing about controlling a vessel in the void, but puffs himself up all the same and throws his weight around. Me and him have had a few words. Words a few times before he left me alone. Met with the Emperor lady. Idira trusted me more than the seneschal when it came to Parliament and voidship. Then there's that woman, what's her name? Tlas? Lady Theodora brought her along wherever she went. What happened to her? Wouldn't be surprised if it turns out it was the witch that delivered her to an early grave. I saw it countless times before. Don't see why anyone would want that walking calamity on their ship. Some would disagree. Say she's friends with a young Teleman, you know? At least she used to be. Like anyone at all? Looks perplexed. What kind of question is that? Like you? Lady Theodore before you. Where would I be if I was making cracks about the rogue trader? I don't want to die just yet. He's obviously very comfortable to tell the truth in his position. Look at him. He turns away. So, yeah, I think he's got no axe to grind. Just wants to be left alone to do his job properly. Whereas the guy in charge of procurement is a piece of shit by the looks of it. How many bloody officers do they have? I guess it's Imperium, isn't it? Where one person will do a job, 20 other people have to because it's all fucked up. Have a lot last, that's near the map. Your great child is on this one. Made like holy connections to be guard against the evils eventually. Let the sacred oils do thy articulations. Let the incantations of the protocol rouse thy heart. And the blessing of Messiah course through thy circuitry. Put a WD-40 on it. With his beads through the shipboard. He's the one that gets people to do his dirty work. Little dogs this time. What was in the little dogs? Here was that boy. I was going to talk to this German guy. By factotum. Corpulent man in lavish clothes bows before you, not without difficulty. Servo scored words over his shoulder with the fingers of his augmented hand drum against the sheaf of papers he is holding. He regards you with attentive interest through the lens of his magnifying implant. Greetings, your ladyship. Generous Denrock at your service. Have you ever heard the name, the Fire Reckoning? What intel is a voidship of some sort? Thinks for a moment, pressing his lips in concentration. But it's not immediate familiar to me, your ladyship. Please allow me a moment. He starts rapidly tapping on the screen of his data slate. Let's say, how's one of the lasses did indeed sign a contract with the owners of a vessel with a designation Fire Reckoning. There are transactions, records of the ship picking up cargo from the Kiava Gamma. And this is odd. Data log ends there. Apparently the ship had some interactions with one of your workshops on your industrial world. Beg your pardon, your ladyship. That's the extent of assistance I can provide in regard to this particular matter. So that was at Kiava Gamma. How do you come to serve here? From Koronus, your ladyship. I've been a subject of your dynasty since birth, and I've always strived to be of use to the great rogue trader, relying. Last, it was not my fate to be the primary heir of my own family, due to my being 15th in line for the title. I decided not to stand in the way of those behind me in case they attempted to shorten the waiting list at my expense. He lets out an almost kindly chuckle. While my brothers and sisters schemed against one another, I studied the exact sciences and mastered bookkeeping. The greatest art of the adeptus administrator. I must admit that the accumulation of both, something one can control, is far more exciting than hunting, carousing, and other traditional amusements of my noble peers. So like working with Theodora? And that's a tricky question. We ask it of everyone, knowing they risk losing their heads should they let slip a careless remark about your predecessor. I shall put it thus. Working with the Lady Theodora was never boring, nor was profitable. The Imperium has billions of subjects, but very few do what they love, and what they are best suited to. I would say Lady Theodora was one of the fortunate ones. She was a model rogue trader, and she surrounded herself with those who excelled at and loved their work. Hers was a rare talent indeed. I wish to know what you think of our fellow crew members. In tags and your subordinates, a wise move. Only you interest you, I'll endeavour to be as honest as possible. His eyes light up, obviously eager to speak his mind. And he wants to give his own version and perhaps colour my perception. What do you think of the Seneschal Abelard Vizierium? Lady Theodora managed to do what even Imperial Navy cannot. Teach Master Vizierium to carry out orders that he fundamentally disagrees with. I I do not know what methods she used, but the result is impressive. When said that, something else you need to know. Essentially, I was capable of being something far greater than a mere conduit of your will. He possessed the cunning and experience to run the Protectorate passively whenever Lady Theodore was away. That really is saying something. Keep an eye on that old officer, I say. Or alternatively, turn him into a faithful ally. Conrad Voigtveer, former master of whispers. I hope I never see him set foot aboard this vessel again, not even as a servitor. Although, we will be able at least to do some good that way. Someone has to clean the latrines after all. It was all quite fright on that ill-fated day, Lord Captain. Still, be candidly, I never enjoyed Master Voigtveer's company, but I believed him to be a man who never did his job. Regretfully, I was mistaken. It turned out Conrad lacked the most important quality for a master of unwavering loyalty to the road trader. His failing came to light in the most deplorable manner. To Voxmaster Victor's Tolman. Ah yes, the Voidborn. You know, in my family, we used such creatures as quarry whenever we went hunting. Shit. Mutants are the bane of humanity. An unseen tumour threatens to end us all. Oh, I'm a mutant. But I digress. Brief time Ptolemy has spent in the post as Voxmaster, I've not noticed any significant flaws in her character or anything that would make me question her professional qualities. Needless to say, she is very diligent, as is any Voidborn seeking to earn the Master's affection. I believe you can trust in her skills and loyalty. Who buys our plunder? Of course, do interest you. Most often deal with followers intrusives, explorators, as the Balaka mission, or Emperor's Fellowship of the Void. What do the followers of St. Drusus acquire from us? Still hope to bring the Koronus Expanse into the warm embrace of their faith, just as their flock hopes to receive the aid of the Drusi missionaries. Each created food, shipped the clothes, or box of medicine marked with your seal as a sign of the road trade herself believes in the sect's future success. Reverend Hieronymus, the first among the Drusians, and is most often seen in the football's grand atrium. Being a fellow, some almost believe him to be a saint, so Hieronymus is the head of the Drusi missionaries. Explorators. Members of the Explorator Cognizance Fleet, which has been roaming the Koronus Expanse for a good while now. Omnisire knows what they're hoping to find, but the acolytes regularly show up on inhabited worlds seeking bits of sacred knowledge, tracking down mechanical relics, sniffing out Xeno artifacts, truth be told. Supposedly they want to save the ignorant rabble from corruption. A tech priest named Opticon 22 does business with us on the fleet's behalf. He can be found on the docks of Footfall. Master Balaka mission? Masters of the cold trade, immoral criminals, and notorious crooks of the last man. The mission is but one branch of this mafia gang, taking root in the Calixis sector. You can do business with them as long as you take the necessary precautions. They're led by Radane Tokara, who recently appointed herself in the of Footfall. Of course, he is a trusted ally of rogue trader Winterscale. But he will not refuse you, know that the Emperor's anointed. If you wish to talk to Radane, look for him in the Legion's Palace on Footfall. Calixis, isn't that where Argento was? Who's his Fellowship of the Void? Pompous name, is it not? In truth, they're a gang of pirates. They're forever squabbling over loot and territory. However, some of their little flottillas need supplies. Or can take cargo off their hands without asking questions. Of course, there was also risk that these scandals would change their mind and tip to borders instead. So far, our macro cannons have managed to keep them in line. Say Rizza Calveria owns the Fellowship's behalf, or speaks on the Fellowship's behalf. The Adeptus Emesecus on Footfall is rumoured to be a favourite. Why we're giving us roles away to these people? Offer from them, of course. Most of the things you find during expeditions are complete junk to one such as yourself, but less fortunate and affluent servants of the Emperor, treasures. especially when they're bestowed by the great rogue trader herself. Using fanatics, pirate cutthroats, Casablanca dealers, and explorators, none will refuse our help in these dark and trying times. And there may be a time when we shall be the ones requiring aid, and it would be beneficial to have allies willing to provide it. We're trying to make him not as obsequious and backstabbing, double-faced. That's the first. Okay, that's for NPCs to make up. That's for respecking. Okay. Return later. Awaiting instructions. Hey. Dr. Idira. A tall middle-aged woman stares straight ahead, her eyes vacant, as she rubs the implant at the temple. Her collar is undone, and one of the clasps is on the verge of falling off. Sensing your presence, she turns her head towards you, offers you a quick smile, even as her eyes look right through you. Where'd you come from?
Lyra, an outlying world in the Heathen Stars region. In the Koronus Expanse, the deeper you go, the less visible the Astronomicon gets, and the less people know about the Imperium. The arrival of a rogue trader is the best thing that can happen to a world like that. The very best.
Astronomicon, that's the beacon that the Emperor is on Earth or something? Psychic beacon that helps navigators triangulate course here. Tell me about Lyra.
It's an out-of-the-way planetoid between two faint stars. On Lyra, a dozen local tyrants fight over 5 measly continents. But they use everything they can to win, from poison to Psykers. I haven't been there in many years, but there's nothing for me to miss. Trust me.
He is wringing her shaking hands.
But here on the ship is a different story altogether. I saw more wonders in my first year serving Lady von Valancius than I'd seen in my whole life on Lyra. Like my first journey through the warp, I was in bed for 3 days. I felt like supernovas were exploding in my head. I only found out later that I'd gotten off easy. Just through the bulkhead in the bay next to mine, a whole team turned into... Look at me rambling on, Lord Captain. Pay no attention.
The whole team in the bay next to you? Is that because you're unsanctioned? And you had an episode. What did you do before you came on the ship?
Oh, I embroidered wall hangings in honor of our national heroes. I did the same thing I do here, Lord Captain. Divining. Our rulers prized the ability to see into the future. Every Psyker that could be found was worth a small fortune on Lyra. There's no such thing as a peaceful life on Lyra. People like me were especially sought after. They'd pick Psykers up wherever they found them, buy kids off their parents, even just abduct them. Take me, for instance. I got taken from my street gang. The older kids sold me when they noticed there was something off about me. The ruling dynasties had schools where they trained us and beat us black and blue. And then they packed us off to serve. Some of us held on for a long time, but others didn't last. Not everyone's as smart and talented as me, you know. Some people crossed the line and were out of commission before their time.
Idira looks at you expectantly, then, as though clarifying, she uses her hands to indicate a head exploding and laughs. How did you end up in the rogue trader service?
Theodora von Valancius paid a visit to the ruler I was serving at the time. I don't know what the visit was for, and it's no business of mine anyway. I can still remember the way the voices in my head changed when I looked at her. They were practically screaming. She had so much behind her, and plenty ahead of her too. As I gawped at her, All of a sudden, I heard a whisper. A hint, a suggestion, nothing more. But I know the difference between idle chatter and a real threat. I seized my chance and approached Theodora. I managed to whisper a couple of words in her ear before the wardens dragged me away. They beat me and locked me up. No wonder. It wasn't my place to converse with outsiders. And then Theodora's people came for me. They broke down the wall, butchered the guards. All so I could tell them my warning in full. So I said the rest, but I didn't want to go back to my old life. And so I entered the service of the Van Valancius dynasty.
Have you ever been off the ship?
A few times. Not many. And if I think about it, why would I want to? I've got everything I need here. All the whispers I hear are familiar ones. They almost feel like family. And if I want to hear about the nightmares off the ship, I can. After some Amisec. But don't go getting the wrong idea. If I have to, I'll follow you to the edge of the galaxy.
Never finished your story about the first time crossing the wall.
It wasn't like it was a very fun trip, Lord Captain. But look, if you want to be entertained, I'm the woman for the job. I'll entertain you with one of the stories from my collection, no problem. But if you want to hear about the time I melted everyone in the bay next door, well, I just don't really want to go into the details on that one, all right?
Okay, fair enough.
Of course, Lord Captain.
Do you know Theodore well?
None of the officers knew the Lord Captain well. Not even Abelard, and she was always closer to him than anyone else. She told me from the off that if I ever listened to anything in the warp about her without her permission, I'd be going out through the airlock. I'm not an idiot, so I never stuck my nose where it didn't belong. Only when I was asked. It's hard to wrap my head around the fact that she's gone. Lady Von Valancius gave me everything I have. She opened the stars to me and the paths between them. I still think I can hear her voice.
Things are strange between you and Argento, isn't that right?
The little sister is afflicted with her own set of voices. Ones that whisper to her about corruption and heresy. The silly girl doesn't realize that if she wants to find the source, she needs to start by looking in her own head.
Ooh. Is Argento a latent telepath, mate? What was that sci-fi series? Oh yeah, it was a Babylon 5, wasn't it? But if you didn't join Psyker, you were given all the drugs, would you? What awaits me in the future?
All right, let's hear what they're whispering about you.
She laughs, rubs her hands together, suddenly freezes with a vacant smile on her face. Her head slightly tilted. Your goosebumps appear on your skin, and your collar begins to waver ever so slightly, moved by a breeze from a half-open door.
Seek not on firm ground, but in a golden hall suspended in the void.
Yep.
There waits a child without kin, but with a name blind to truth. She draws the brush across the canvas and does not notice that her palette is full not of paint, but of blood. And with each smear, this well does not deplete, but fills and fills up to the brim. One thing is clear. When this vessel overflows, none will remain unstained.
Okay, so a ship. There's somebody. Okay. cryptic, but
Among the blind men and false prophets, a red-robed sage seeks the answer to a question. He does not know that it is not the answer he must seek, but the question that will draw everything into focus. Will you help him, rogue trader? But mark that sometimes ignorance is sweeter than oblivion.
red robes say that Order Mechanicus, tech priest people, or maybe it's one of the Hieronymus people. Who's this?
A chained hound chases after glimmers of the aurora, but sparks in the scent of oil confound his nose. A chain trails after him. What will happen if you pick it up? Will you become his mistress? Or merely another beast in the pack of his true lord?
Is that about the Master of Whispers? Or that's someone else in the future? Maybe another person we can pick up on the way, a companion?
The glow of dawn bursts forth from its prison. Dungeon walls cannot contain the dark essence wallowing in the dust. A naive cub pushes his nose into a familiar hand, one that holds death in twisted glass. Cherish it or cast it off as a burden. The sword of change has already been raised. What is one more life to it?
Is that dawn again? 4 or 5 times that's been mentioned. I don't want a naive cub. The hand is someone's trying to get betrayed. Twisted glass, and the glass shards when the door was murdered.
I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going wild. I can't make out a thing. I'll try to rein them in, somehow. But for now...
That's fine. That's...
Of course. Always at your service. Whenever you need me.
You know, a lot to think about. I mean, I'm not that kind of psyker. Sanction psyker. And it's... I chose... Psionic powers. Whereas Idira chose divination. Aha, so that's why when I was last episode talking to the oh, he runs the Battle Ordnance guy, it says even your stories have reached out here, that I guess. Or maybe he's talking about that. Maybe that's the voice I keep hearing in my head. Lucian's Exploiters. That's the... Nice to find out. Ship upgraded. Maybe Abelard can help with that. Speaking of which, the time to go and talk to him. It's just here. See what? He's there. Well then, Abelard. All the text time.
Lord Captain.
Let's talk about things that may be useful to me as the rogue trader.
A noble aspiration, Lord Captain. I am ready to acquaint you with all the particulars that interest you.
What's the situation in the Koronus Expanse? What do I need to know? Keep in mind.
This is a topic for an official briefing, not a casual conversation. But I will try to answer succinctly. and if you permit, in my own words, the Koronus Expanse is considerably removed from the heart of the Imperium. This means that local warp routes become useless within months. Established pathways are regularly subject to attacks from all kinds of rabble. And in the only major port, the Imperium's frigates find themselves moored alongside pirate vessels. Until recently, the Koronus Expanse could hardly have been called a region of the Imperium. The situation has changed with the arrival of the Lord Inquisitor, but not by much. This place operates under its own rules, you see. More radical, so to speak. But ones that allow for a non-standard approach where there is a promise of victory. The Koronus Expanse is considered rogue trader territory for a reason. Only rogue traders have sufficient military might, audacity, and the rights granted them by the warrant to survive the leap into the unexplored part of the Expanse, and in the event of a successful outcome, to hold on to whatever they manage to capture on the frontier.
Who are the main players I need to be aware of in the Koronus Expanse?
In the first instance, you should treat official representatives of the Imperium with respect. The Expanse may be on the fringes, but it still numbers among the territories of the Golden Throne. The arrival of the Lord Inquisitor has turned the Koronus Expanse into a less wild and uncontrolled region, to the regret of some individuals who had grown inured to the local lawlessness. Rogue traders such as yourself are also servants of the Imperium. They have been accorded special rights and powers. They wield immense authority within their territory, and they enjoy absolute respect in other parts of the Expanse. The most powerful of them are Caligos Winterscale and Incendia Bastal Chorda. Tread carefully when dealing with either of them. If we are to speak of unclaimed territory, which is what Footfall is, among the scum that dwells on that handful of asteroids, there are 3 factions that wield considerable influence in the sector. The first is the Kazbala Commission, organized crime in its most primitive form. It holds sway over the Liege of Footfall and has links to rogue trader Winterscale. The second faction is an offshoot of our shining ecclesiarchy, followers of St. Drusus. They are actively building their forces and hold influence over rogue trader Chorda. And finally, the third faction, the Explorators, a wing of the Adeptus Mechanicus. They are willing to die and kill for the secrets of the ancient technological heresies that are hidden among the stars of the Koronus Expanse.
Conrad, he was a master of whispers. What can you tell me about his betrayal? What do you think he'll do next?
You know, Lord Captain, I am no admirer of fine art. But when we next find ourselves in a civilized port, with time to spare, I will promptly find an artist and commission a portrait of the individual to whom you refer, with a hole between the eyes. Conrad Voigtveer. That he committed his treachery and escaped with his life was an unforgivable oversight.
Well, they did plan it all meticulously.
We both served Lord Captain Theodora for many years, and we never saw eye to eye. He was brash. He was never afraid of assuming responsibility, and he willingly took on difficult tasks. I am loath to admit it, but the von Valancius Protectorate continues to reap the fruits of his labors to this day. His service always garnered my respect. But everything else about him made me want to wring the neck of that two-faced snake. If you are taking comfort in the thought that we will hear no more of Conrad, prepare to be disappointed. You thwarted his plans, his meticulously plotted and nurtured treachery. He is sure to attempt to strike at you, and he will use his contacts and knowledge of the Protectorate to do so. The only question, Lord Captain, is whether you will be able to anticipate his next steps.
Enough.
As you wish, Lord Captain.
I'd like to know more about my seneschal.
As you wish, Lord Captain. What would you like to know?
What were you before you became Theodorus seneschal?
I used to be an officer in the Navis Imperialis. No, used to be is not quite right. It was not simply a job. It was my calling, the essence of my life. I was proud to serve Lord Captain Theodora, but in my heart and mind, I'm still an officer of the Imperium. I met Lord Captain Theodora on a mission where the Imperial Navy was providing reinforcements to the rogue traders' army on one of the frontier worlds. Our acquaintance was not easy. Working with people outside the Navy hierarchy has never been my strong suit. It was to my great surprise then that after the mission's completion, I received a referral to leave my service in the Navy and join the rogue traders' personal council. It was a difficult choice for me. But I saw in the offer a chance to serve the interests of humanity even more effectively than in the Navis Imperialis. You do not need me to tell you just how remarkable a person Lord Captain Theodora was. I recognized her at once as a true leader and formidable creative force, one who had built a protectorate amidst the dangers and wildness of the Expanse.
Leaving the Imperial Navy is far from easy. Why were you permitted to quit your post?
You could say there was no one among the naval command who was willing to impede the wishes of the rogue trader. To do so would be to risk their own position and their relationship with Theodora. Well, the Lord Captain possessed certain contacts in the Imperial Navy, contacts which she used to request help during the conflict on the border world, and which enabled her to make me an offer that resulted in my joining her retinue. The Navis Imperialis is an ancient institution with its own mandates and muster lists. On occasion, in the heat of an official briefing or an informal discussion, I violated those rules, determined to press my point. It is challenging to choose the words to accurately express my opinion on a situation or the actions of others that do not sound overly scathing or confrontational. Many in command were inclined to view my manner of speaking as unbefitting a person of my rank.
Why you respected the chain of command as part of who you are, you thought possibly information and decisions made weren't the best.
I am a widower. I am a father of 4, and if my information is not outdated, a grandfather of 11. My family lives on Dargonus. None of my children expressed any eagerness or aptitude for serving aboard ship, and I would hardly have insisted that they follow in my footsteps.
Cool.
Of course. Lord Captain.
I'm not going to say him is my first name because that would have been insulting him. Hey, how long have I been recording? An hour and a quarter. So, we've got to know all the crew and all the characters, so I'll call this episode here. And finally, in the next episode, episode 6, yeah, you can actually click on this button and look at the map. But thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye all.